Hello and welcome to the channel. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu started with some tough economic policies on his very first day in office. The outcry was followed with an understanding that the people could see what he is doing long term, perhaps short-term pain for long-term gain. But as the dust continues to settle on the Tinubu government, which never had the trust of the people in the first place, it seems to be alienating them even further with harsher economic policies that may just tip them over the edge. That's obviously not what a government looking for legitimacy wants. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you. Tinubu taking the baby steps together. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu government is rapidly creating two different worlds, one for the leaders and the other for the rest of the citizenry. On the very hour he was sworn in on May 29, 2023, he fast-forwarded the implementation of the petrol subsidy removal, which was supposed to take effect from the end of June. He told Nigerians that he shared their feelings, the biting effects of the policy, and urged them to bear the pain of childbirth, as they would soon be overjoyed when the baby arrived. The pains are overwhelming, with prices hitting the roofs. Few people can afford the cost of petrol, which has risen from 180 naira per litre to over 600 naira in most parts of the country. Many vehicles are off the roads, and generators which used to hum everywhere due to epileptic power supply have gone silent in most places. Industries are hard hit, and many are either laying off staff or failing to pay salaries. We are told that the number of multidimensionally poor Nigerians has risen from 133 million to 142 million due to Tinubu's economic policies. The least we expected, in the midst of the mass misery, was for the federal government in rolling out the measures to cushion the effects of the pain on the people, to adopt policies that would benefit everyone. Instead, the ruling party is taking us back to the discredited cash transfers, which will only offer 8,000 naira per month pittances for 12 million families and for only 6 months. We fear that this cash bonanza may end up in the pockets of highly connected party members and political cronies. To worsen matters, President Tinubu offered a 70 billion naira welfare package to new members of the National Assembly, while the leadership of the National Assembly are lining up 40 billion naira for 465 exotic, bulletproof cars for members. Compared to the 500 billion naira set aside for the so-called palliative measures, it shows that 469 members will consume more than a quarter of that amount. Clearly, our elected politicians are not interested in sharing the pains they are imposing on us. This is unacceptable. If Tinubu continues on this path, he might end up a spectacular disaster like his predecessor, Buhari. We join in the call for the immediate suspension of these bonanzas for politicians. The leaders and the led must share in the pains of any reforms. Safety net policies must positively touch all Nigerians, not a few who cannot even be verified. These packages will grease the wheel of corruption and could lead to upheavals. Tinubu must cut the cost of governance and adopt austerity measures to steer the country out of the economic turbulence we face. We must take the baby steps together. Nigerians are delighted that President Bola Tinubu is set to roll out some relief measures to cushion the biting effects of the implementation of petrol subsidy removal. But we are firmly opposed to his resort to the discredited cash transfer approach. The president said, "The palliative is coming. I don't want cash transfer to fall into the wrong hands." He has already asked the National Assembly to approve 500 billion naira from the supplementary budget for the scheme. Also, Tinubu is lining up the controversial $800 million World Bank loan for the same purpose. He targets 12 million poor households, which is a minuscule portion of Nigerians affected by the subsidy removal. When the government of former President Muhammadu Buhari embarked on a similar quixotic venture, we cautioned against it. Government officials were unable to provide foolproof criteria for cash disbursements. Besides, there were allegations of partisanship and sectional discrimination. We have no credible social security register that accommodates the 140 million multidimensionally poor Nigerians. Any scheme that will take care of only a small segment of the poor and only for 6 months is unacceptable. Such cash in the hands of politicians or bureaucrats at this point so soon after the elections will definitely not be safe. We prefer the strategy of teaching the people how to fish rather than giving them fish. When it comes to social welfare schemes, it is best to invest such funds in production, not consumption. Subsidizing productive activities will create wealth and eventually benefit most Nigerians. Instead of distributing cash, let us activate the petrol to gas policy contemplated but abandoned by the Buhari administration. Since gas is cheaper and cleaner, the federal government should invest some of the fund in giving Nigerians the option of converting their vehicles and generators to gas, which Nigeria has in abundance. Our armed forces and vigilante groups should be supported to rid our forests and farmlands of criminals such as racists, bandits, killer headsmen, and separatists to allow our people, especially the youth, embrace farming en masse with active federal government financial support. Without it, the president's emergency on food security will flop. We must revisit the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN's anchor borrower scheme or create something similar. Let us launch a massive reindustrialization policy. Government should subsidize micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, and generously fund educational and health services. This way, the palliatives will benefit everyone and even boost the economy. We applaud the move to embark on massive nationwide repairs of our trunk roads. It is spot on. Jettisoning the negotiations with Labour to roll out a suspicious cash transfer program will breed a stormy relationship with the workers' unions. It's marks of forcing through a preset mindset. It is poor prioritization. Another cash transfer scheme will surely end up in the pockets of a few officials and politicians. Drop this idea. Indeed, the federal government must abandon this unclear process of empowering our people and in its place come up with more people-focused policies that connect the poor with good means of livelihood, food, job, and security. Thus, if the process and policy is allowed, it will translate to a palliative that cures the effect of a sickness while leaving the root cause to thrive. That's the news, guys. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye.